A monstrous demon lord appears in the city, glaring fiercely at a trembling little girl. He grips her arm, demanding guild directions, while terrified bystanders flee the scene. Only one skinny man remains the master, who accidentally granted this beast god-tier power. Previously, Lee Hoon was a top 100 player before an inventory wipe reset him. With mountains of gold instead, he vows to conquer the world using a unique path. He spends everything on one subordinate, birthing Caesar in legendary, ultra-rare armor. But Caesar has a loyalty stat. If it drops, he might desert or even kill him. The system warns that low loyalty leads to abandonment or a swift, brutal death. Hoon pales in terror, unaware a small thief is currently stalking his every move. A sudden push sends Hoon face first into the dirt. He hides the pain to stay cool. He acts tough for Caesar's sake, as the system initiates their master-servant bond. Caesar views his master as magnificent, and Hoon breathes a quiet sigh of relief. He orders Caesar to catch the brat who stole his gold. The hunt ends instantly. Caesar captures the thief, but the horrific scene leaves the entire crowd paralyzed with fear. The kid is bound to a giant blade, while Caesar proudly reports his successful mission. Hoon realizes Caesar's cruelty might backfire. Showing fear now would mean instant game over. He masks his panic, scolding Caesar for such inefficient and uselessly brutal methods. "Just take the loot back," he commands, and Caesar bows before his master's wisdom. Hoon threatens the kid, secretly hoping for a tragic backstory to justify his release. He needs an excuse so Caesar won't think he is soft for letting the boy go. Instead, Caesar demands the kid pay a 90% monthly protection tax to his master. Hoon is speechless as they follow a guide toward what looks like a total dump. The guild is a filthy hideout packed with scarred, bloodthirsty criminals and dangerous thugs. Hoon realizes the girl mistook them for villains and led them to a crime syndicate. Their aura is just too demonic. The protagonist screams internally while maintaining a stone face. He accidentally looks menacing, prompting a scarred leader to ask for their business. They are deep in the Bram slums. The terrified girl asks if this is right. Hoon holds his head in despair. Why did she think they belonged in this hellhole? Caesar interprets the silence as a sign to discard the woman now she is useless. Hoon is horrified. His SSS summon is far more bloodthirsty than he ever imagined. He shouts for Caesar to stop, explaining that unnecessary slaughter only brings unwanted heat. Stealing from thieves is fine, but harming civilians will bring the authorities down on them. He explains that a high-profile bounty would ruin his plans for total world domination. Only after a detailed explanation does the dense, overpowered subordinate finally understand. Caesar smiles and orders the woman to vanish before he changes his mind. She flees in tears. Hoon watches, feeling a pang of guilt for the poor girl. She is the second most tragic woman he has encountered in this cruel fantasy world. The first was a knight player. He assumes their paths will never cross again. An eye-patched thug asks if they are joining. Caesar accepts before Hoon can object. The leader sneers, predicting the back alley will soon be drenched in fresh blood. The entry fee is 5 gold. But Caesar's terrifying face earns them a newbie discount. The man demands 1 gold instead, telling them to scram and find more money. Caesar slams a mountain of gold on the table, leaving the entire room in shock. They are handed a cheap wooden badge. Caesar's rage flares at the insulting junk. "You dare offer this trash for 5 gold? Caesar growls, ready to start a massacre. Master? That title sent shockwaves through the tavern. Why would a giant serve such a frail-looking boy? The thugs laughed, mocking the scrawny protagonist. They assumed he had some secret blackmail over the beast. They couldn't see the hidden power beneath his weak facade, leaving them baffled by this strange, mismatched duo. Despite his newbie gear, the boy's servant vanished, reappearing behind a mocker before the laughter even died down. With one crushing blow, the SSS-Rank summon sent the man spinning, leaving him broken on the cold floor. "Insult my master again and you die." Zare's bloodlust exploded, terrifying every low life in the room instantly. He toyed with his blade, considering a total massacre, until the surrounding thugs stood up in desperate defense. Our main character quickly intervened, commanding his violent servant to follow the unspoken rules of the slums. Internally, the hero was panicking, sweating bullets over his summon's insane aggression, while Zare reluctantly sheathed his sword. A heavy silence fell over the room. They walked to the counter, ready to take on their first mission. The terrified receptionist quickly opened the quest board, revealing several tasks as the game system pinged with notifications. Quest accepted. Slum rat hunting. A flood of generic, low-level tutorial missions appeared before our hero's eyes. These rewards were garbage. Our protagonist sighed at the pathetic gold and the massive time sink required for them. He finally picked a debt collection quest, targeting an old shopkeeper who was late on his guild payments. When asked for the shop's location, the receptionist provided a guide to lead them to Bill's mysterious store. A man named Han appeared, claiming he worked for a fee. He was just another massive guild debtor. Recognizing the man as a useless parasite, they followed him deep into the dark, narrow slum alleys anyway. As they walked, 𝑺𝒏𝒌 began overanalyzing everything, praising the master's hidden genius and complex strategic calculations. "You plan to rob the whole shop, don't you, master?" 𝒁𝒏𝒌 whispered, completely misinterpreting the simple debt mission. The hero ignored the servant's wild delusions, hoping to avoid even more trouble from 𝒁𝒏𝒌's bloodthirsty imagination. He ordered the summon to act civilized, but one look at 𝒁𝒏𝒌's face proved that was an impossible task. Our main character stayed silent, realizing his servant's kindness looked more like a death threat to everyone else. They reached the shop, finding a disheveled man inside. Our hero noticed that the junk was actually priceless treasure. This wasn't a normal second-hand store. Every dusty item held immense magical value, hidden from ordinary civilian eyes. "Look who's here," the owner sneered. Bill stepped down, thinking they were just more pathetic guild debt collectors. When Bill reached out with a filthy, slime-covered hand, the guide recoiled in disgust and pure physical terror. 𝒁𝒏𝒌 stepped in, shoving Han aside. He looked at our hero, promising to handle the situation exactly as ordered. Han asked how the boy knew such a monster, but our protagonist just told him to remain quiet. 𝒁𝒏𝒌 shook Bill's hand firmly. Initially, the shopkeeper smiled, but his expression quickly turned into a mask of agony. "Are you that happy to see me?" 𝒁𝒏𝒌 grinned as his SSS-Rank grip crushed the shopkeeper's hand like dry wood. Bill's body went numb, and he collapsed instantly. The system confirmed the shopkeeper had suffered terminal consequences. The debtors behind them stood frozen in shock as the shopkeeper slumped over, his life essentially snuffed out. Our hero's heart sank. His summon had just murdered a key NPC with nothing more than a simple handshake. The system pinged. "You have received 350 gold. The scene was a chaotic mess of efficiency. 𝒁𝒏𝒌 slammed the blood-stained gold onto the guild's desk later, leaving the guild members shivering in pure dread. Our hero claimed they didn't loot the shop, leaving the guild to handle the fallout of their brutal success. The daily gold quest was complete, but the guild secretary was now on high alert, fearing our hero's power. A Cold War atmosphere filled the room. Our protagonist wondered why everyone was suddenly acting so terrified of them. He sweated nervously, realizing they had just permanently retired an NPC, and walked back like it was nothing. The one-eyed man sighed. "I didn't expect you to handle Bill like that. What are you truly after?" "I only followed my master's will," 𝒁𝒏𝒌 replied, nearly causing our main character to faint from the stress. To avoid suspicion, our hero claimed it was just a routine job, finishing the quest he had delayed. The receptionist finally offered them official guild badges, though the processing fee was 10 pieces of gold. 𝒁𝒏𝒌 carelessly tossed the gold onto the counter, his arrogance echoing as the guild members watched in stunned silence. They finally received the enchanted badges, magical identifiers that would mark them as official, elite members of the guild. To master the underworld skills, the guild leader urged our newbie hero to evolve first. "Conceal that badge immediately," he warned, "before the city patrol soldiers spot us." But as our hero reached out, the old man pulled back, playing a dangerous game. Was he being mocked? Rage simmered as the boss claimed registration would take time. Seeing our main character's murderous gaze, the old man began to sweat buckets. Fearing for his life, he offered exclusive guild housing to settle the tension. Suddenly, the S-rank servant 𝒁𝒏𝒌 seized his throat. "Is this a joke to you?" The boss stammered that the stay was free, but 𝒁𝒏𝒌 only cared about the disrespect. While 𝒁𝒏𝒌 threatened him, our hero was secretly thrilled about the free luxury lodging. "Apologize properly," 𝒁𝒏𝒌 hissed, "or today becomes the anniversary of your death." The blindfolded boss stood silent before claiming the servant had finally crossed the line. 𝒁𝒏𝒌's expression turned demonic. In a flash, his blade cleaved the desk in two. As the dust settled and patrons fled in terror, the boss realized his mistake. "Apologize to my master, not to me," 𝒁𝒏𝒌 bellowed, his killing intent overflowing. Trembling, the boss bowed to the hero, yet 𝒁𝒏𝒌 sensed no true sincerity. To save his skin, he offered a heavy pouch. "System, 100 gold coins received." Our hero's eyes sparkled. Earning a fortune just from an apology? This was legendary. This was a massive profit, but 𝒁𝒏𝒌 still looked ready to reap a soul. Our protagonist watched helplessly, wondering if his own summon had actually lost his mind. To appease them, the boss presented the legendary Stormblade, boosting strength by +3. Holding the blade, our hero felt a surge of raw, untamed power in his palm. This masterpiece could sever fate itself. He smirked, feeling his combat potential skyrocket. The atmosphere grew suffocatingly tense as everyone watched the hero examine the steel. Mistaking his smirk for dissatisfaction, 𝒁𝒏𝒌 prepared to execute the boss for gifting trash. The servant's blade swung for the kill. Our hero could only watch in pure shock. Suddenly, A silver blur streaked through the air, parrying the lethal strike instantly. A mysterious woman appeared, hanging upside down while effortlessly blocking 𝒂𝒐's legendary power. "What a lively party," she joked, sheathing her sword as 𝒂𝒏 gnashed his teeth. Infuriated by the interference, 𝒂𝒏 demanded her name, his pride wounded by her smirk. She declared it proudly. "I am Lena, the royal princess of this realm." Our hero froze in terror. Insulting royalty? They were walking straight into a death flag. Unfazed, 𝒂𝒏 continued to berate her, treating the princess like a mere nuisance. Lena laughed, challenging him to use her name instead of such disrespectful titles. Surprisingly, 𝒂𝒏 didn't attack. Our hero realized his servant sensed a true monster. Based on his veteran instincts, 𝒂𝒏 knew this woman wasn't just another ordinary warrior. Her presence was overwhelming. She possessed skills that defied the tutorial's logic. A high-ranking guild executive? Our hero realized, cold sweat dripping down his neck. Her reaction speed was god-tier, far beyond any normal warrior he had encountered. Her agility stat must be off the charts, allowing her to dance through death. With such insane reflexes, she could strike any weak point before the enemy blinked. 𝒂𝒏 grimaced, realizing that even his S-rank power might struggle against her speed. Our hero did not want a bloodbath, but his body was already reaching its limit. If they retreated now, 𝒂𝒏's loyalty might drop. He had to take a stand. Stepping forward, he swallowed his fear. Is it Lucy? Or was it Lena? His heart hammered against his ribs, but he maintained the mask of a master. Lena pondered a deep question. If a clerk fails, is the guild or the worker to blame? She stroked her chin thoughtfully. Does he really want to make a scene? Lai-Hun stepped forward. He argued that when a clerk messes up, the customer simply wants a sincere apology. That is all. Lena's expression soured. She groaned, then her hand moved in a sudden, sharp arc that startled everyone. Lai-Hun watched her strangely. Suddenly, she brandished a glowing medal before the two stunned men. She smiled, mentioning they were discussing this very token. They wanted to be official guild members, right? Clenching the medal, she pulled it back and flashed a devious, wicked smirk at our protagonist. Why call them customers? She watched Lai-Hun and his companion closely, analyzing their every single move. These guys aren't official yet, she realized. They must be mere trainees or temporary guild recruits. They look like lowly part-timers, the kind of nobodies who spend their days scrubbing floors and windows. Lai-Hun's pride took a hit. What kind of logic is that? Her words cut deep into his ego. Gritting his teeth, he decided to turn the tables. He pulled something out and faced Lena directly. Lena, have you ever seen a lowly part-timer carrying over 500 gold coins? Lena's eyes widened at the sight of the heavy gold pouch. She could literally start her own shop. Why would someone so wealthy work as a temp? Lai-Hun's gaze turned serious and commanding. It's not that simple. Major shops require elite experience and secrets that money simply cannot buy. Lena's face flushed red with excitement. This forbidden knowledge was exactly what she craved most. She leaned in close to Lai-Hun. How cool. I want to be just like you, she whispered. She asked if the summon called him master. His name? Wynnum Mayer, he replied with total authority. Wow, even your name is incredibly cool. Lena confessed she was starting to really like this guy. The man beside her was stunned. Suddenly, Lena pointed her sword directly at the official's face. Fine, I won't interfere in this mess. The man frowned, realizing she was abandoning her guild duty. Lena just shrugged indifferently. The official roared, asking if she really thought she'd be safe after this. I absolutely do, she chirped. After twirling around, she looked down and let out a mocking laugh. You're just an incompetent fool, while I'm a genius. Won't the branch manager prefer me over you? She vanished instantly. The official was left fuming with rage, but he had no time to react. Caesar moved like a shadow, instantly deleting the guild secretary non-player character before anyone could blink. System alert. Caesar's notoriety rose by 10. Wynnum Mayer's infamy skyrocketed by 20. Lai-Hun was lost. What just happened? He tried to stay calm, asking Caesar to lower his blade. Inside, he screamed, Why did you kill him? Rewind to a few hours before this chaotic encounter. Lena was bored to tears, watching the pathetic thugs in the crime guild drink and gamble away. Who would be stupid enough to challenge these lowlifes? She hated guarding such absolute trash. She was dying of boredom. If not for those guild contribution points, she would have left long ago. Suddenly, something caught her eye. She crawled forward, peering through a crack in the wall with curiosity. Is there a fight? She wondered. Below her, a man was sent flying, crashing hard onto the ground. Thugs were fleeing in pure terror. That was when Caesar appeared, looking like a literal demon of death. A terrifying, bloodthirsty aura radiated from him. He had already wiped out the trash outside with ease. Caesar roared at a survivor, demanding they apologize to his master immediately. Not to him. Lena was stunned. A monster of that caliber actually has a master pulling his strings from behind? The terrified thug begged for forgiveness. How could such a bloodthirsty demon be controlled by anyone? Caesar wasn't satisfied. "Where is your sincerity?" he barked. Lena shifted her gaze toward Lai Hun. This master looked incredibly ordinary. With those tired eyes, he seemed like a regular, harmless guy. Lena noticed his clothes were practically rags. She continued to watch the unfolding drama with intense interest. Suddenly, Lai Hun looked up and locked eyes with her. The secretary offered 100 gold in apology. Lena watched Lai Hun's every move, her mind racing. What kind of monster was she actually looking at? The master's expression was an unreadable void, a chilling silence that struck pure terror into everyone's hearts. Lena panicked, fearing the master found their tribute insulting. Was the price still far too low for him? The secretary desperately offered a premium blade as compensation, but the master's face remained terrifyingly stone-cold. To Lena, his silence screamed fury. It was as if he felt insulted by such a pathetic, rusty toy. Caesar's rage exploded. How dare they offer such trash to his lord? His killing intent filled the room. Lena realized the psycho-servant intended to slaughter the secretary. This was absolute madness. A pure suicide mission. She couldn't stay hidden any longer. She leaped out, desperate to prevent a bloodbath that would ruin everything. Who was this guy? No mere part-timer carries 500 gold. He was a total anomaly in this world. Her instincts were right. He possessed forbidden knowledge and wealth that no regular player could ever hope to buy. Returning to reality, she raised her blade with a smirk. Fine, she'd watch this play out from the sidelines. Lena sensed Lai Hun's hidden potential, despite those sleepy eyes. But the truth was far more ridiculous. He was technically weak because he dumped every stat point into his subordinates, becoming a legendary glass cannon commander. That bored expression was his permanent mask. Meanwhile, back in the fray, Caesar's blade finally tasted blood. A fatal strike. Caesar had just murdered a guild official, triggering a catastrophic, unprecedented event in the system. If the criminal guild issued a bounty, not even a monster like Caesar could survive their infinite shadow army. Any hope of a normal, peaceful playthrough had vanished into thin air. The game was now officially broken. Everything was spiraling out of control. Lai Hun glared at his servant, his patience finally reaching its limit. "You've gone too far," he hissed. But Caesar only responded with the twisted, loyal grin of a madman. The servant laughed, claiming a single clerk's life was a small price to pay for upsetting his grand master. His humanity withered away as he begged for forgiveness, his laughter echoing like a demon's in the dark. Lena watched Lai Hun, convinced he was the true puppet master behind this chaotic, blood-soaked circus. She stepped out, eyes gleaming with excitement. "Wow, master, I've never seen anyone so cold-blooded and ruthless before." Lai Hun froze in shock. Was she a high-ranking spy? Was she about to report them to the authorities? Caesar barked at her, defending his lord. How could she not see the divine greatness standing before her? "My master is a legend who will build a dark empire to rule this entire world," he proclaimed. Lai Hun facepalmed in agony. This idiot's delusions were going to make him look like a total lunatic, but Lena's eyes sparkled. "That sounds incredibly cool," she chirped, finally descending from her attic hiding spot. The 16-year-old landed gracefully, brimming with confidence. She was a master of protection and a deadly assassin. With ties to the underworld, she specialized in guarding VIPs and making enemies disappear without a trace. "I'm Lena," she teased, "the world's most adorable future superstar assassin." Then, she dropped a bombshell question. "Don't you need a talent like me, master?" she asked, showcasing her lockpicking and combat skills effortlessly. Despite her underworld connections, she claimed to be the most charming and brightest killer in the entire game. She beamed at our protagonist. "Deep down, don't you realize that I'm exactly the person you're looking for?" Lai Hun stared at the self-proclaimed cute assassin with pure skepticism. This girl was clearly out of her mind. "Do you even hear yourself?" he asked. But Lena only pointed a finger at the bloodthirsty Caesar. "I finally see why a psycho like him follows you," she laughed. Lai Hun's soul practically left his body. He was officially a magnet for lunatics. Lena leaned in, her excitement reaching a fever pitch. "Your servant said you'll build a shadow organization to crush the world, right? That sounds absolutely epic." A world-ending dark guild sounded 100 times more fun than her boring, trashy current criminal organization. She leaned close, her gaze softening with a strange, devoted affection. I'm officially applying for a position, Master. I have high market value, she whispered. Li Hun groaned, trying one last time to shake her off. I have nothing for you, he growled. Dealing with Caesar is already a nightmare. Go find your own path. Instead of being deterred, Lena's face flushed bright red with joy. To her, this was the ultimate recruitment test. Just as I imagined. So cool, she cheered. From now on, I am your second loyal subordinate. The system window flashed. Assassin Lena has joined your party. Li Hun could only stare in speechless horror. Hun stood frozen as Seer's lips curled into a lethal smirk. Behind that grin, his loyalty points were skyrocketing. Cold sweat drenched the protagonist. Wait. I gave her absolutely nothing, so why is she looking so overjoyed? His party was a nightmare. A bloodthirsty psycho and a cold-blooded killer. Lena gave him an innocent wink, making the main character realize he'd just recruited a female version of a monster. ***, system, NPC, subordinate conversion complete. ***. They warped instantly to the heart of Bram Square. Seer loomed behind him, asking if that girl was truly reliable. Hun recalled Lena's cheerful farewell. Leave the rest to me, Master. I've memorized your face. Hun sighed, already feeling the mental drain. Drop it, Seer. I'm not wasting time on trivialities. He was exhausted despite doing almost nothing yet. Seer apologized instantly, trailing behind like a shadow. But his past actions in the syndicate were far from humble. He had swung his blade at the Adventurers Guild with a chilling declaration. The boss wants your heads. A sudden wave of murderous intent radiated from Seer. Hun shivered, feeling the bloodlust prickle his skin. If he wasn't careful, this high-tier subordinate would vanish, and their 300 million gold bond would shatter. He couldn't lose a servant worth 15 years of grinding. My lord? Why are you staring at me like that? Flustered, Hun looked away, only to spot a young girl sobbing her heart out nearby. The child wailed for her mother, her small voice echoing through the bustling square. Seer, do you see that crying child? What would you do in this situation? Seer's expression remained stone cold. The girl's eyes were swollen red as she gasped for air. Suddenly, Seer raised a hand with a twisted, demonic grin. Shall I turn her into a lowly beggar for you, Master? You truly are a devil. Hun muttered, his expectations for Seer's humanity hitting rock bottom. I didn't ask what I wanted. I asked what you would do. Seer finally understood. He slowly approached the tear-stained girl, his towering presence casting a dark shadow. After a silent stare, he simply turned back. It's beneath me. I have no interest in doing anything. They moved toward the Adventurers Guild, where the air was thick with the scent of gold and gossip. You missed the raid again? Do you have any idea how massive the reward was? Were you sleeping? Hun stepped inside, soaking in the nostalgic guild atmosphere. Everything had changed since his last life. Seer complained about the long queue. Hun cut him off sharply. Shut up and get in line. Like a trained hound, Seer fell silent and stood perfectly still. I'm finally learning how to tame this beast. The crowd began to whisper. Look at that rookie. He's actually ordering that terrifying man around. He looks like a newbie, but his aura is insane. He must be a high ranker in disguise. One glance from Seer sent chills down their spines. He smirked, feeding off their visible terror. Finally, it was their turn at the counter. The clerk looked up with a professional smile. Registration is 1 gold coin. This badge will be your identity within the labyrinth city of Bram. Hun gripped the badge. How do I activate this? The clerk requested it back for the blood-binding ritual. As a drop of blood hit the mechanical clock, a holographic interface flickered to life. The system integrated instantly, displaying hidden stats, legendary skills, and potential class paths. The class gate is open. Choose wisely based on your calculated potential. Seer suddenly snatched the device. Listen up, you useless insects, Seer roared. Witness the awakening of my master's true power. Feast your eyes on a bloody revelation, the likes of which you've never seen. He cackled like a madman. I told you to stay quiet, Hun snapped. He wasn't keen on wasting blood for a dramatic show, yet a spark of curiosity burned within him. He felt every eye in the guild fixed on his back. The atmosphere grew heavy. Hun unsheathed his blade, his 4 fixed stars vibrating with hidden energy. With a steady hand, he let a single drop of blood fall onto the mechanism. The result appeared. Charisma. A dark, satisfied smile spread across the main character's face. Command over a monster like Seer was just the beginning. His true authority was finally awakening. Now, let's see what fate has in store. He turned his gaze toward the glowing system screen. The moment of truth arrived. The manager accessed the system panel while our protagonist held his breath. The class list was a total nightmare. Swindler, imposter, or robber. The main character stared in horror. The screen mocked him with titles like fraudster and armed robber, followed by a massive, mysterious question mark. His face turned ghostly pale as he trembled. But suddenly, a new title sparked a glimmer in his eyes. They stood frozen in shock. Sweating bullets, the main character looked at Seer, realizing his reputation was ruined. Could he ever lead with these criminal titles? He reflected on his chaotic journey through the labyrinth so far. He recalled Seer's madness, terrorizing civilians, crushing criminals, and ruthlessly eliminating that greedy old shopkeeper. The main character turned white. Seer did the dirty work, but the infamy fell solely on the master's shoulders. Seer let out a chilling, savage laugh, praising his master. But wait, the system panel was shifting again. The titles transformed. Seer roared with laughter, boasting about the hidden nobility of his supreme chosen master. Confused, the main character whispered to the manager, demanding to know why his criminal titles had suddenly vanished. She explained that the system needed time to process expanded stats beyond basic, surface-level information. Lightbulb moment. The main character eagerly scanned the new list, hoping for something better than a common thief. The new lineup appeared. Boss, slaughter conductor, and murderer. Still absolutely insane, but it was progress. Seer declared that a legendary master deserves a legendary subordinate, and naturally, that meant himself. The main character snapped at him to shut up, but the crazy summon just took it as praise. "You mean there is no need to state the obvious, master?" he asked, laughing like a complete maniac. Ping! A notification appeared. "You have acquired the title Boss, the supreme leader who commands with absolute charisma. As organization members grow stronger, the boss's power scales to godlike levels. The labyrinth shall tremble before him." While Seer gloated with joy, the main character remained utterly speechless at the sheer absurdity of it all. He had achieved a one-of-a-kind explorer record by utilizing his legendary skills with maximum efficiency. Curious, he asked Seer about his own title. The answer? A casual, bone-chilling, ordinary destroyer. The main character's face twitched. It was the perfect title for a monster who lived for pure carnage. Seer thanked him for the compliment, while the main character screamed internally at his servant's twisted logic. They entered the waiting room, and the air turned ice-cold. Every explorer there was paralyzed with pure terror. Seer looked down upon them like a dark god. One terrified soul even screamed, "Thank you," in desperation. The main character was baffled. Seer laughed, claiming his mercy was simply allowing them to keep their lives. The main character fumed. He had specifically ordered this lunatic to show some respect while in public. This madman, he cursed silently. No matter the reason, acting like a tyrant would get them killed. Seer casually apologized, flashing a sinister smile. He promised to rephrase his vow of mercy for the survivors. The main character stood frozen. If Seer started a riot here, the elite guilds would hunt them down. Was this arrogance because of his new class? The Destroyer. A title earned through endless bloody slaughter. A destroyer scales infinitely with every soul they reap. The more they kill, the more unstoppable they become. To a destroyer, massacre isn't just a choice, it is the ultimate path to reaching god-tier power levels. The main character glanced at Seer. This guy didn't just have the title, he embodied the essence of annihilation. Wait, was he planning a massacre right now? The look in Seer's eyes was pure, unadulterated evil. A man suddenly offered his money bag, begging for his life. Seer's interest was instantly piqued. "How much?" Seer asked. The man trembled, offering 1 silver and 30 copper from his bank savings. The man claimed he kept it in the bank for safety. Seer grinned, reaching out his hand. "Then I'll keep it safe for you." It was a cold-blooded robbery in broad daylight. The man tried to flee with his gold, but an arrow pierced his back instantly. Death was swift. Seer growled, "I don't beg. I gave you a chance to live, and you wasted my mercy." The main character's heart hammered. Under Seer's rule, even breathing felt like a death-defying crime. The room dissolved into chaos and tears. People wailed for their mothers, paralyzed by the sudden, brutal carnage. It was too late. If anyone escaped now, the guards would swarm and Seer was itching for a fight. Guild banishment means endless trouble. I'm backed into a corner with no escape. His gaze turned lethal. We must discipline these punks until they fear me more than death. Special skill, tyrant's pressure. Yet, the master's face looked more comedic than truly terrifying. Caesar stood up, blade drawn. "You vermin! Can't you see my master is dying of boredom? I'll grant you one chance to entertain him. Fail, and I'll execute you all personally." Faces turned ghostly pale. Two thugs exchanged a glance, realizing their lives hung by a thread. One stepped forward nervously. "Your name?" The blonde one replied, "It's just M, sir." M's face became stone cold. "Do you know what Bia said right before he died?" Curiosity peaked in the silent room. He shouted, "You un Bia." Total silence followed the joke. Caesar's voice dropped to a murderous growl. "You trash. You think my lord enjoys such filth?" They wailed in despair. "That was my best material." Caesar ignored their pathetic cries for mercy. He raised his sword. "Not only did you waste your chance, you insulted my master's dignity." Before the strike, the master spat out his drink, unable to hold back his laughter. "Damn it, that was actually hilarious." Caesar stared in pure shock at his master's unexpected reaction. "What's with that look? Does he hate me laughing? Am I not allowed any joy here?" Under Caesar's lethal gaze, the master forced a sigh and donned his cold, villainous mask. "Time for a tactical pivot. Honestly, it wasn't funny. I only laughed to save your lives." He began a savage, maniacal laugh, forcing the thugs to cover their ears in sheer terror. Caesar whispered, "I've never seen him laugh so demonically. You trash actually managed something impressive." He swung his blade. "To achieve your goals, you must be ready to sacrifice your lives." The hall trembled in silence. Caesar continued, "If you desire power, then give everything for it. Any piece of garbage that fails to show resolve will never leave this room alive." At 3:15 p.m., the survival game began. Secretly, I felt a twinge of pity. In the freezing suburbs, Lena shivered. "I wonder if my master and his swordsmen are safe." She recalled his power and felt a surge of excitement. He must be doing something legendary. I'm certain he's shaking the very foundations of the world somewhere right now. Back inside, the thugs performed. One fumbled his knife, stabbing his own leg in terror. Seeing the pathetic display, the master and his SSS servant burst into cruel, mocking laughter. Lena's delusions deepened. That bored gaze. He's clearly tired of these puny mortal threats. A supreme leader of a dark legion, destined to bring a chaotic end to this world. She gasped. He's more dangerous than any criminal guild. He is the ultimate bringer of ruin, a great demon king who rejected his humanity. That man is truly the ultimate mastermind. Meanwhile, the master was actually feeling quite depressed as a girl began to wail loudly. She sobbed about needing money for her mother. "I can't take this nightmare anymore," she cried. Her crying gave him a headache. "I must separate my pity from my role as leader." He put on a disgusted face. "How boring. Give me a better reason to spare you." Lena's blind worship intensified. This transcendent demon. He has always been my true master. She hallucinated about a glorious future. Surely, this man can conquer anything in his path. Remembering her past cowardice, she felt a wave of shame for failing her first mission. "I failed him. I ran away like a weakling. I'm so sorry, my great master. Even my lord is troubled by those criminal guilds tracking our every single move lately. Finally, it's time to be useful." Lena vanished into the night, ready to cause total chaos. Night fell over the city. Caesar asked, "My lord, do you have something to tell me?" "I'm freezing to death." "How are you standing there like the wind doesn't even exist?" Caesar replied firmly. "A warrior who has conquered countless battlefields never yields to mere wind." The main character was left speechless. He couldn't even complain about the biting cold anymore. Suddenly, Caesar turned around. "Master, your greatness is absolute," the servant praised. Li Huiyan flinched. His SSS-Rank summon continued his worship. "Even in these rags, you ignore the freezing winds. Truly legendary, boss." Huiyan wanted to scream. "Of course it is cold. This is just basic newbie gear. He is wearing my expensive cloak while I freeze." He sighed in defeat, trudging behind Caesar. His pride was shattered, and he was completely exhausted. Looking at Caesar's back, Huiyan felt a sharp sting. Those luxury clothes were bought with his hard-earned stocks. "At least give me my black cloak back," he grumbled. He wondered how Lena was doing lately. Frustrated, Li Huiyan vented his anger on a nearby wooden crate. He delivered a powerful, frustrated kick. "Damn it!" he barked. Suddenly, the lid flew open. Lena popped out from inside the box like a ghost. Huiyan's eyes narrowed with suspicion. His voice turned cold and dangerous. "What are you doing in there?" Lena poked her tongue out, scratching her head playfully. "Hee, you caught me," she giggled mischievously. The main character's face darkened as he stared her down. "Explain yourself." "Now," he demanded with a shadow. Lena ignored the threat and began a dramatic lament. "It is freezing. I searched the entire guild for you. I was too tired of waiting, so I decided to camp in this box," she cried out dramatically. Li Huiyan looked at her blankly. "You know. You could have just waited inside the warm building, right? The realization hit her like a lightning strike. Her eyes widened. Wait, were you inside the whole time? Yeah, Hoyon replied flatly. Lena slumped over in pure, unadulterated despair at her own stupidity. While I was freezing in a literal trash can, you were relaxing? That is heartless, master, she wailed. Lena's mood vanished instantly. Listen, the criminal union has officially joined forces with the Adventurer Guild. If you run into any member of that union, things will get ugly fast, she warned seriously. Hoyon fell silent, processing the danger. Caesar stepped forward. Master, does this mean our next target is? Wait, Hoyon interrupted. How is the actual mission progressing? Lena winced, tapping her head guiltily. About that. I should have reported sooner. I was a fool. Hoyon's anger reached its absolute boiling point. Caesar, throw this piece of trash into the bin. Now, he ordered. Caesar saluted with terrifying speed. Ah, wait, my body won't move. It feels like pins and needles, Lena screamed as she was hoisted. Without mercy, Caesar tossed her into a bin and sealed it with a massive boulder. The master and servant walked away, feeling much better. Finally, some peace, Hoyon sighed. Caesar nodded. I am starting to act just like Caesar, Hoyon realized. As night fell, Lena finally managed to break free. I gathered every single treasure in the guild after you left, she boasted with a grin. Carrying it all was risky, so I hid it in the spatial bag at the branch office. They arrived at the Bram Entertainment District. Lena excitedly detailed her plan to frame the mercenaries. I faked the staff's deaths, but my luck ran out. The branch manager showed up right then. Hoyon rubbed his temples. So, you failed to erase the evidence and became the prime suspect? Exactly, she chirped. Hoyon realized the truth. Lena was taking the fall for Caesar's chaotic actions. He had to divert her. Forget it. It was a fun run. But you ruined the entire plan. You failed your very first mission, he said coldly. Lena's eyes began to well up with tears. How can you be so heartless, master? I did the dirty work and became a criminal for you. Seeing her cry made Hoyon's cold facade crumble. He could never stand seeing a girl in tears. He reached out and gently patted her head. You did well to survive that mess, he whispered. But why didn't you just run away with the spatial bag? Lena's face turned bright red. I didn't want you to be suspected as my accomplice. I wanted your protection, she mumbled. Hoyon sighed. Her logic was a mess, but her loyalty was real. At least you are here now. Eat, bathe, and get some rest, he ordered. Lena beamed. Yes, master. At the Bram Inn, Li Hoyon spoke to the owner. 1 double and 1 single room. With a bath. The owner shook his head. It is late, traveler. We only have 2 single rooms left. Lena chirped about being my second loyal servant, but I kept my composure. You reek of the dumpster, Lena. Clean up. I thought, she needs her own room. To keep her loyalty high, I need to treat her well. But as for him, I've never shared a room with that guy. My instinct screamed in warning. Wait, this psychopath kills with a mere handshake. What if he sleep kicks me? It's game over if I stay. Li Hanan strictly ordered him to stay elsewhere. Take this room. Seer looked confused. Do you want me to kill the innkeeper? He whispered. It will be noisy, and you won't sleep well. Are you sure? I maintained my icy facade. I won't waste precious sleep on such trivialities. This absolute madman. Seer turned away, muttering how cold and mysterious I was. No shared room, no killing. Are you worried about that assassin, Lena? I cleared my throat, puzzled. What are you talking about now, Seer? He explained. She's a useless burden who failed her criminal organization, yet you forgave her. You're just lowering her guard to tear her apart at night, right, boss? My mind went blank. What kind of twisted logic is this? I just sighed. No, you idiot. I'm just sleeping at a different inn. Lena is still useful. I walked away, leaving Seer wearing a dark, terrifying smile. Then, the system rang. Alert. Labyrinth World fatigue mechanics. Lack of sleep costs 2 days of health. Warning. Stats will drop after 3 days. Sleep deprivation status is hidden. The sun rose over the noble Bram Hotel. I was still passed out. I muttered in my sleep until a heavy, suffocating aura filled the room. Wake up, master. I bolted up, dazed. Wait, is it morning already? I haven't even slept 3 hours. Then I saw Seer casually cleaning blood. His sword was stained crimson. I backed away, trembling. Who did you kill? 7 people. He smiled. No witnesses left. I was horrified. He's a monster. I remembered his chilling words about handling women when they let their guard down. Did he actually do it? Did he kill Lena in her sleep last night? I gripped the sheets, shaking. Suddenly, a thud echoed from the ceiling above. Lena dropped down with her usual greeting. I stared, completely stunned she was alive. She claimed I was a future legend, so she stood guard all night. Seeing them bicker like usual, I felt a strange sense of twisted camaraderie. Then I saw the trashed room and their murderous gazes. This is insane. How am I friends with these psychos? Let's just get out of here. We reached the Bram Adventurers Guild. 2 battered hunters were limping toward us. This mission was hell. The monster's reflexes were insane. We barely survived. One hunter shuddered, recalling the carnage. They had used every ounce of strength. How can the easiest tutorial dungeon be this difficult? They felt utterly defeated. Suddenly, they bumped into a mountain of a man. It was Seer. Seer glared down with killing intent. A newbie dares look at my master? Lena joined in, acting offended. Boss, this creep is staring at me. Kill him. The hunter turned pale with terror and immediately bolted, leaving his friend behind. He literally threw his wounded teammate on the ground to escape my aura. My reputation is ruined again. I sighed and told them to focus up. Today, we set our new path. Lena asked, "What's the next move, boss?" "We're hitting the beginner's labyrinth." Lena wondered if there was any real competition. Glancing at the bickering duo, Lena sighs. It's time to focus on our true goal, grinding levels and top-tier loot. Absolute power means we won't need to lift a finger to prove our dominance. Our gear will send a clear message. Mess with us, and face a fate worse than death itself. That is true prestige. Kesar agrees instantly, but Lena still questions why we're taking a beginner's quest. Kesar scoffs at her stupidity. They'll annihilate every monster there just to show those rookies their overwhelming tier. Lena loves the plan. Surprisingly, these two are finally on the same page for once. Training them might actually be worth it. One's a powerhouse, and the other has an infinite inventory. Clearing hordes will be a breeze. The experience and rare drops will start pouring in like a waterfall. Opening the quest tab, Lee smirks. If party experience sharing works as planned, he'll reach the top without moving a single muscle. This is the ultimate lazy leveling strategy. A flawless plan from a veteran player. Lee's grin turns sinister as the group prepares for the hunt. With wicked smiles, they head toward the labyrinth. It's time for the real slaughter to begin. Following the adventurers, they reach a massive, fortified wall guarding the city's heart. The sealed gate marks the entrance. A barrier built to keep the labyrinth's horrors from spilling out. Now, this contained nightmare has become the perfect hunting ground for those seeking power. Entering the depths, they find corpses everywhere. Kesar laughs at the sight of the fallen amateurs. Something vicious killed them, perhaps a deep labyrinth orc, or something even more monstrous. A minotaur or a troll. Lee wonders why guilds would let beginners into such a death trap. It makes no sense. Meanwhile, Kesar sees this danger as the perfect stage to flex his strength. Lena points ahead. Scavenger goblins are feeding on the remains. The foul creatures lock eyes with them. First blood. Kesar enters combat mode, drawing his blade with a bloodthirsty glare. Witness true despair, he roars. But Lena is already moving, her daggers gleaming in the dark. Before he can even swing, her blades find their marks. The goblins drop dead instantly. Kesar freezes. Lena smirks. Why so loud over such weaklings? She mocks his dramatic entrance. Furious that she stole his kill, he fumes. Lena just yawns, calling him a slowpoke. Kesar grinds his teeth, raising his sword. You'll regret that, woman. I'll show you who's slow. Internal conflict? Already? Lee panics as his two powerhouses prepare to murder each other. Why is his SSS-Rank team falling apart before the quest even starts? Suddenly, a goblin horde swarms them. But Lena and Kesar ignore the monsters and charge each other. Trapped. Lee remembers the warning. This floor is 3 times harder than the rumors suggested. Fear sets in. Yet, those two are still focused on their petty internal rivalry. Lee facepalms in despair. His teammates are more dangerous to each other than the monsters. Lena lunges. Kesar swings, but their strikes perfectly intercept the goblins creeping up behind them. Impressive, she laughs. Her daggers whistle past Kesar's ear, piercing the monsters in his blind spot. In a flash, the entire horde is decimated. A mountain of corpses is all that remains. Lee stares, speechless. 78 times experience multiplier? This is pure madness. When giants fight, the mobs die. Smiling, the trio continues their path of destruction. Level up notifications flood in. Lee praises Lena, fueling her ego as she brags to Kesar. Kesar scoffs. Lee crosses his arms, playing it cool. Good, but average. Try coordinating next time. Lena giggles with confidence. Sure. I wouldn't want to make it look too easy. Looks like this beauty has to carry the big oaf, she teases. Kesar turns livid with rage. I'll take your head, he bellows. Lee intervenes. Fighting each other is just a waste of energy. They'll never reach the deepest floor at this rate. And Lee definitely can't hunt alone. Lena asks if he'll lead. Lee sighs. As your master, I'll take the point. Just follow me. He steps forward, then freezes. Wait. Why did I just say that? Kesar watches closely. When asked if he's okay, our MC panics. Of course I am. He lies. Even Sis notices the sweat. Sis looks away, hiding a smirk. Meanwhile, Lena is pure hype. This is her first time seeing Master's skill. She bets he's a god-tier assassin. Our MC? He's turning pale. The expectations are crushing him. Sis spots a target. A frail, old goblin. Master, show us your power. The poor monster trembles, hobbling forward. Sis offers a sarcastic, good luck. MC regrets everything. He was fine just leeching XP in the back. Now, it's a 1v1 showdown. Newbie versus Grandpa Goblin. Feeling the pressure, he grips his blade tight. Can he even kill this thing? Screw it. He clears his mind and prepares for his first real strike. Focusing his aura, he swings. A blast of sword chi flies toward the old goblin. Is this SSS rank power? Nope. The goblin dodges with ease. Before MC can blink, the monster lunges and whacks him on the head. Ouch, that's humiliating. Clinging to his throbbing head, MC swings wildly again. He's in pure panic mode. The monster jumps. But wait, a skill activates. His body moves on instinct. The counterattack begins. Sliced, the goblin falls. MC gasps for air, shocked that he actually won. But the nightmare isn't over. The dead goblin bolts. It was faking. Desperate, MC throws his sword like a legendary projectile. The goblin flinches, terrified until the sword flops onto the ground 2 feet away. Absolutely pathetic. Dead silence. MC watches the monster escape into the distance. He quietly picks up his sword in shame. He returns to his OP summons, face burning. Sis breaks the silence with some top-tier trolling. Wow, Master, you truly surpassed your limits there, Sis sneers. Then Lena asks the most dangerous question. Wait, if that was better than expected. How bad was he before? MC just wants to disappear. Just forget it, he mopes. Lena pales. Master, are you sick? You look like a ghost. No response. Now she's genuinely worried. Night falls, and the trio sets up camp in the dungeon's shallows. Sis and Lena are locked in a silent glare-off. Finally, Lena raises her hand with a bold request. I'm 16. A growing girl needs her beauty sleep, so I'm skipping guard duty. Sis loses it. Stop talking trash, you brat. He's fuming at her sheer audacity and laziness. You want our sick master to watch over you all night? Lena isn't backing down from the shouting match. How old are you anyway, calling me a brat? MC steps in before they blow the camp's cover. I'm not sick, he yells. Then he drops the bomb. Sis is only 15. You're both on watch. Lena's jaw drops. No way. You're telling me this old-looking guy is younger than me? He looks 30 at least. She turns to Sis, mocking him. Does he even have any real power? Sis's fists clench. His killing intent is rising. MC watches the chaos, feeling a massive headache coming on. They aren't even listening to him. Enough, MC commands. Save your energy for the monsters, not each other. We're stuck camping in the wild. And whose fault is that, Lena? He glares at his supposed expert, an S-rank assassin who can't find the exit. Unbelievable. Aren't assassins supposed to be masters of the shadows? Shouldn't you have basic navigation skills to lead your guild? MC is questioning her entire resume. Lena scratches her head, confused. Suddenly, her eyes light up like she just had a divine revelation. Oh, you're right. But I wasn't the one in charge of those thieves. MC stares at her, dumbfounded. Wait, weren't you their commander? She nods happily. I gave the orders, but why learn thief skills? Assassins don't waste time on petty lockpicking. MC's soul nearly leaves his body. Then what can you do? She lists her skills: stealth, infiltration, and assassination. Only the deadly stuff. MC's face sinks further. What about tracking, mapping, disarming traps? Lena just smiles innocently. I have no idea. Sis scoffs. Master, forget this useless brat. I have a safe path out of this hellhole. MC shudders. Safe? Sis is the psycho who destroyed the entire floor and blocked their only exit. His shortcut almost got them all killed. Before MC can even complain, Lena jumps back into the fray. Round 2 begins. Lena sneers, mocking Sis for his lack of actual results. The tension is explosive. You shut your mouth, you hag. Sis screams, but he's already running out of insults to throw back. Lena smirks. That's big sister to you, 15-year-old boy. MC can only sigh. Is this his dream team? Stop it, you two, I barked. To prevent this chaos, I'd already prepped 2 days of supplies. They fell silent instantly. Lena cheered first, realized her master was actually a genius at preparation, but then she asked about a map, and the atmosphere turned deathly silent once again. I had no answer for that. Stuck in an awkward silence, I took the night watch duty. Being a master is exhausting. I'm the one guarding these two while they sleep like logs. Those rogues kept me awake all night. We must escape this labyrinth before monsters swarm us. Our supplies are running low. Suddenly, I noticed something chilling near the cold campfire. Lena's spot was empty. Only her blanket remained. Where did my SSS-Rank assassin disappear to? Did she desert me to avoid overtime? I gritted my teeth, wondering who'd cover my shift now. Suddenly, she leaped out from behind. Master, you look exhausted. Let me take over for you. She was touched that his unwavering protection left a deep, lasting mark on her soul. He acted stoic, but Lena leaned in, whispering a fateful offer. She would teach him. Suddenly, the system announced, Skill transfer! Assassin Lena offers her power. Will you accept this hidden legacy? Starting from level 0, reach level 1 to finalize the mastery. Warning. Pure effort is required, or this legendary potential will wither. A miraculous skill transfer. This event is incredibly rare in-game. Gold cannot buy this loyalty. Only absolute trust unlocks this path. Luck is smiling. He asked, Lena, what will you teach me? She smirked. Master, what is the soul of a true assassin? The kill? Correct. She would grant him her ultimate signature art. System, learning Lena's assassination art. Her blade flashed with lethal intent. Speed and precision. Find the weakness. End them in one heartbeat. Instantly, she vanished. A cold blade grazed his throat as she laughed. Be faster than sight. The target should never know they've died. He was stunned. Lena nodded. Now, let us begin the basics. She stood still, yet a flash of light obliterated the boulder. A perfect hole remained. Now, master, perform this 1,000 times. He turned pale. He hadn't even seen her strike the stone. Lena placed the sword in his hand, guiding him with grace. Forget brute force. Maintain the perfect stance and lethal distance. Strike without touching the surface. Master the blade that pierces shadows. Mastery of the wall strike is vital. He executes the move perfectly on his very first attempt. She applauds his success, but he asks, what if I accidentally strike the stone wall instead? Her face turns terrifying. Strike a vital point too hard, and blood sprays like a fountain. The weapon will be identified. You'll be caught and hanged if you don't disappear immediately. Is she joking? He wonders, but he's grasped the essence. Speed, precision, and silent lethality. He trains without rest until the system rings. Skill transfer complete. Level 1 rank achieved. Panting heavily, he feels exhausted. His companion watches him, her eyes widening in sheer surprise. The system alerts. Proficiency, 3%. Skill acquisition failed. She mocks his pathetic talent. You have 0 talent for assassination. He cries internally, feeling like a total low-rank loser. Suddenly, his legendary summon Seer awakens. Master, the SSS-Rank servant speaks with chilling intent. Why are you awake, Seer? The summon responds instantly. An exploration party is approaching us. Their training ends abruptly. Sensing the outsiders, the atmosphere grows heavy with coming conflict. A group approaches. As our duo senses them and turns around, the atmosphere shifts instantly. 3 pairs of cold eyes glare at them. Terrified, the adventurers turn and flee in panic. Run! It's those thugs again. Hoyon stands frozen, completely speechless at their sudden reaction. System alert. An unexpected dungeon event triggers. The clock is ticking, only 30 minutes remain. Survival isn't guaranteed. To find the exit, you must catch those adventurers and demand answers. Negotiate or use force, the choice is yours. But if you fail, you're trapped forever. Hoyon's expression darkens. His servant nods. Understood, master. I'll bring them back immediately. Good. We can't lose them. They're our only way out of this labyrinth. As you wish, master. With an explosive burst of SSS rank speed, Sei vanishes instantly. Lena watches in awe, applauding his sheer power. He used the very ground as a launch pad. Master, if you master this movement art, you'll be unstoppable, she chirps excitedly. Then she pauses, looking at Hoyon. But master, Aren't you worried about something? Why should I worry about C? Lena sighs. I meant we should worry about ourselves. C is chasing them deeper in. Lena drops a bombshell. He can't track us while running. Horror strikes. Without C, they are lost in the dark. Lena, we have to move now. If we lose sight of them, we're finished. Hoy. On commands. Pointing toward the dust cloud. We can't wait for another event. Move it, Lena, or we're doing this all over again. By your command, Lena cheers. 3 minutes of sprinting later. The difference is clear. Lena stands calmly with folded arms, while Hoyon collapses, gasping for his very life. He's pale and trembling. Lena panics. Master. Is your heart going to explode? Are you dying? I'm not. Dying. Hoyon wheezes, struggling to stand. His pride is hurting more than his lungs. Lena sighs. Well, there's nothing we can do now. We're at the mercy of fate. We just have to pray that idiot servant actually brings those adventurers back to us. Suddenly, a notification pails him. Servant C is currently hunting the adventure party. Hoyon exhales in relief. C is a monster in combat. Victory is already a certainty. So, what's the plan? Lena asks. If we don't find that madman, we're stuck here. Those adventurers are pros. Once C catches them, they'll guide us out. We just wait. Lena's face lights up with pure joy. You're right. She looks like a radiant angel. Hoyon stares, speechless. Is she really that happy? He clears his throat to break the tension. Lena, once we escape this place, what do you want? What is your heart's desire? Your dedication to teaching me assassin skills deserves a reward. Ask for anything, even something small. You're the best master ever. She rushes toward him, her eyes sparkling with pure excitement. I want to eat something delicious. Hoyon blinks. A top-tier assassin wants food. He is deeply moved. How much has she suffered to only wish for a simple meal? I'll buy you a mountain of food, he vows, hiding his emotional turmoil behind a smile. It'll be a while before Say returns. Let's find something else to occupy our time. Understood, Lena dances happily. But their peace is shattered by a blood-red system alert. Warning, C has killed an adventurer. The air turns freezing as the notification blares. That absolute idiot. Hoyon explodes in rage. He was supposed to capture them, not kill. Master, look over there. Lena points toward another group emerging from the shadows. 3 new adventurers, a girl and 2 men, stop dead in their tracks, staring at the duo. Hoyon is still fuming, while Lena smiles brightly. The newcomers instantly draw their weapons. Lady, get away from him, the armored leader roars. That man is extremely dangerous. You filth. How dare you take a young lady hostage? Their misunderstanding is total and violent. What? A hostage? Hoyon groans. Damn it, he doesn't have time for this nonsense. We haven't slept since last night. If this continues, Zur will wake up and slaughter everyone. We'll be branded as outlaws by the association. I turned to Lena, desperate for a plan. But Lena was trembling with laughter, her face turning beet red as she bit her lip. She leaned in mischievously. I'm just a fragile girl, but this scary thug over here is. An arrow whistled past us. A blonde adventurer screamed, Release that girl right now. The rescue team charged. I shook the laughing Lena. Is our life a joke to you? A rogue lunged with a dagger. Lena giggled and shoved me out of the lethal path. I barely evaded the triple strike. The attackers gasped, stunned by my godlike reaction speed. He dodged an assassin's blade? The leader warned his team. Stay sharp, this guy is elite. Jason gritted his teeth. He's a monster. We can't win this battle with sheer force alone. Their luck had run dry in this dungeon. This was now a desperate struggle for survival. I'll give my life for this team, Jason roared, his eyes filled with a hero's resolve. He looked at Callie. Callie, I've loved you since the moment our eyes first met. Callie's face turned crimson. What are you saying? She pouted, her heart racing in chaos. Tell me after we escape. Lena facepalmed. Are these people filming a romance drama right now? Suddenly, Lena's eyes turned cold. I've seen enough. Master. Should I execute them all now? My heart stopped. I can't be a murderer. Then, a blue system window flickered before me. Notification. Experience points acquired from the party. Level up. Power surged through my soul. A new skill awakened. The Master's Prestige. I smirked. Finally, the SSS-Rank luck is kicking in. System. The Master's Prestige activated. Passive class skill. Level 1 mastery achieved. Master's Prestige. A divine aura that commands absolute obedience from servants and paralyzes every enemy. Lena stared at me with wide eyes, sensing the sudden shift in the heavy atmosphere. Wow, Master. You look like a demon who kills 50 people before breakfast. I felt insulted. 50 people? What's wrong with my face? Forget it, I'll check a mirror later. Skill, activate. Freeze in terror. I commanded internally, waiting for the epic domination. I was beyond excited. But the enemies didn't stop. Why isn't the skill working? Is the system lagging again? Lena panicked, seeing me stand still. She lunged forward to shield her seemingly weak master. Die, you hideous bastard, the adventurers roared. I was actually paralyzed with pure fear. A blade stopped mere inches from my throat, the cold steel biting the air around me. My heart nearly leaped out. Wait, did the skill finally kick in? Is it over? Everyone froze. Zer had materialized like a ghost, his presence crushing the very air itself. Is this a toy? Zer's voice chilled their blood. The attackers were now completely paralyzed. Zer snapped the sword like a toothpick. Jason, the team screamed as their hope shattered. Lena sniffed the air around Zer and grinned. I smell fresh blood on you, Zer. Is it from these fools, Master? Zer growled. Remove your filthy hands from me, girl. Zer knelt before me. Master, the rats I hunted were murderers who preyed on other adventurers. I regained my composure. If they were hunters, why did they run from us in terror? Zer replied calmly. Because you look like a god of death who enjoys mass slaughter. That hit me like a physical blow. Even my own summon thinks I'm a psycho? I turned to the sobbing Jason. Tell me the truth. What do you see in me? Jason trembled. I see. The end of my life. Zer's eyes blazed with lethal fury. You ungrateful insects, Zer roared, drawing his blade. I let you live, and you tremble? You look at the Master and only see your own death? You have no loyalty. There is no reason to let you breathe. Every one of you dies here and now. Zer, stand down, I shouted, grabbing his arm as blood dripped from his black steel. Enough. This is the price for your betrayal. Now, scrub the blood off those stolen blades. The hall fell silent as Lena teased. So, Master finally admits he's as ugly as his mask? Our hero's soul screamed in agony. Reality is cruel, but they finally reached the dungeon's exit. Lena showered him with praise. Master, you're a genius. Planning the cleaning of our loot already? My dimensional bag is finally overflowing. The main character replied with a cold, calm gaze. Cleaning is mandatory. We must wash away the crime to sell these at a premium price. He turned to the low-life thief. Holland, was it? Thanks to your cowardice, we've escaped. You did well. Holland trembled at the mention of his name, his heart skipping a beat. But Master. The gate guards are just thugs. They'll seize 10% of everything you've earned. Li Hun was stunned. Corruption even in the Maze City? This wasn't in the manual. How do we keep our gold? Zer growled. Master. Shall I just slaughter them all? Shut it, Zer. Lena offered her charms, but the main character silenced them both instantly. Holland, lead the way. Zer added a chilling whisper. Fail, and you'll be the first to die. Pressed by overwhelming killing intent, Holland could only obey as they approached the city gates. Back from the maze, the guards barked. Holland put on his most serious acting face. Exempt us. We found a group of player killers and must report to the guild immediately. The guards hesitated before waving them through. Fine, go report to the garrison after this. Understood, sirs. Holland sighed in relief. As they crossed the threshold, the world shifted. The system announced their successful escape. Zer looked back at the bandit with narrowed eyes. You made it sound so difficult, yet we walked right in. Lena added her own suspicions. Where is that 10% tax? Zer threatened. Did you lie just to steal our experience? Did you claim our kills as your own? The main character finally broke his silence. It's fine, Zer. If they try anything, we'll just sell all three as high-grade slaves. Zer instantly calmed down. Understood, Master. The bandits were now paralyzed with pure terror. They began blaming each other in a panic. How could you scam these monsters, you idiot? Holland wept. It was just instinct. Suddenly, a system alert flashed before their eyes. Zer learned the fear induction skill. Both master and servant began laughing like absolute lunatics. Zer's infamy rose by 5, while the master's jumped by 15. Lena waved at the broken men. The bandits' spirits hit rock bottom. Another system window appeared with the mission results. Quest complete. Goblin extermination. Reward. 1 silver and 5 copper coins for your efforts. Bonus reward. For eliminating the newbie hunter group, you have received 10 gold coins. Adventure Guild reputation increased by 3. They finally reached the main guild counter. The clerk beamed. Incredible. Those player killers have been a plague for years. You're heroes. But beware of the guards. They'll take 10%, and the guild takes 10% more. The main character was left speechless. The greed in this world was truly on another level. Lena called them a pack of thieves. The hero tried to defend his logic. Impossible. I've never heard of such attacks. But the girl cut him off mid-sentence. You talk too much. Here's a plan. Want me to handle the payment under my name? Lee Hoon was skeptical. The girl introduced herself as a fellow helpful adventurer. Suddenly, the scene shifted to a ruined monastery under a storm of eerie, purple lightning. A mad priest ranted about innocent souls and the hunger of a truly decadent life. The end is coming for all. Suddenly, the heavy doors were blasted off their hinges. 𝑺𝑺 appeared like a vengeful god of death. Are you really supposed to be a priest? The madman trembled in fear. Lord 𝑺𝑺? How can I serve your dark majesty? 𝑺𝑺 stepped forward, his face a mask of fury. My master is deathly ill. Move! Feeling generous, Lee Hoon declares a 5-star hotel stay. Lena erupts in pure, childish joy. Master, you're the greatest. Seer offers a stoic thanks, while Lena recalls his formerly stingy ways. Remember when you ditched us to save coins? What changed our cheapskate master? She teases suspiciously. Did you hit a jackpot? Lee Hoon sports a wicked smirk, planning his next big scheme. Flashback to Iroh's successful deal. Thanks for choosing me, she chirps, finalizing their secret arrangement. Since it's your first time, I underreported our haul. Lee Hoon begins his greedy calculations. The Hunter Association gets 0. This private commission system is an absolute goldmine for me. How am I this lucky? Lena stares, blunt as always. Master, your face looks truly villainous. Unfazed, he wonders if this thickened skin comes from his new master's charisma dungeon skill. Whatever, let's just enjoy the loot. Lena adds another jab about his occasionally hideous expressions. Seer snaps at Lena to shut it. Master Lee Hoon finally takes the lead as host. Enough, no more sleeping. Today, we feast and live like kings, he announces grandly. Consider this a reward for surviving the maze. However, there is one impossible condition. Looking menacing, he drops the bomb. From now on, absolutely, no causing trouble in public. The two stare at each other. Seer immediately points at Lena. He's talking to you, wench. Lena explodes. It's your fault, you bloodthirsty psycho. The bickering reaches a boiling point. Just as blades are drawn, staff rush in. Excuse me, honored guests, not in the lobby. Even the master can only hold his head in shame, cursing his chaotic SSS-Rank summons internally. Trouble aside, the trio finally hits the luxury restaurant to toast their legendary success. Whoa, so this is how adults celebrate? Lena exclaims, captivated by the high-class flavors. Is this your first party? Hoon sips his drink, reflecting on his long-lost gamer days. Not bad at all, he mumbles. Suddenly, Seer's eyes widen in absolute horror at him. By the way, what's your tolerance? Hoon asks. Seer looks like he's seen a ghost. Master, we aren't of age yet. Lena freezes, realizing they're about to break the law. Right, I forgot your avatar's ages don't match their looks. Lee Hoon panics internally. Quickly changing the subject, he notes, anyway, we'll fail the next raid if we get lost. Lena, do you want to learn some navigation skills? He offers his SSS servant a new role. Lena's excitement dies instantly. Hard pass. Being a guide isn't cool or flashy at all. A heavy sigh escapes him. Fine, I'll just hire a thief or buy a map then. He laments his fate. No matter how nice he is, his overpowered servants never listen. Seer, who had been brooding, suddenly snaps. Master, he bellows, startling the entire room. You drank the whole glass? You're only allowed one sip. Lee Hoon stands there, totally confused. Why push yourself? Your incurable illness is worsening by the minute, Seer cries in drama queen agony. Lee Hoon breaks into a cold sweat. What nonsense is this? He looks to Lena for rescue, but Lena is already sobbing. Master, did you overwork yourself just to celebrate our first raid? The confusion deepens. Lena turns to Seer, frantic. You killer psycho, do something for him. I'll get a priest immediately. Seer shouts, his anxiety reaching peak tutorial boss levels. Before Hoon can protest, Seer vanishes in a blur, leaving his master screaming in internal agony. Flash forward, Seer returns with a priest in tow. I've brought the savior, he declares breathlessly. The priest looks annoyed. I am 𝑺𝑺, from the Guild of the Priests of the End. Hoon's brain slowly reboots. Nice to meet you. But wait, a priest of the end? In the original game, priests were legendary rarities who kept their identities strictly hidden. Cult of the End? He's never heard of them. This faction must be a brand new variable. Hesitant, Hoon asks the question. Tell me, what exactly is the doctrine of your order? The priest's expression turns chillingly dark. Our goal? The total collapse of this world. A chill shot through Li Hoon's heart like a lightning strike. This guy is definitely a cultist. So your Church of the End will cure me? Li Hoon asked, unknowingly triggering the maniac. Exactly. Kill the body part, and the disease vanishes. Death is the only unavoidable salvation, he screamed. Whether blocked by illness or fate, the end comes. Li Hoon shivered, his face turning dead serious. That is a massive problem, he muttered, while his inner voice screamed. Is he trying to kill me? Luvic looked confused. Don't you want your disease killed? I heard you were dying of alcohol poisoning. The main character sighed. It is a misunderstanding. I only had one beer. My blood is fine. My men troubled you over nothing. You have traveled so far on this late night, priest. I would feel guilty sending you back empty-handed. Please, let me pay for your travel expenses. Take this and go. Luvic stood frozen as he took the gold, his hands trembling with shock. His eyes bulged at the money. Seeing his intense face, Li Hoon asked, Do you need more? Luvic let out a heavy sigh. Oh, God of the End, your servant is finally rewarded for infamy. Crying tears of joy, he sobbed. I cannot thank you enough. I cannot simply leave after this. I must purge those craving innocent souls and the desires of a degenerate life. Looking at the priest's manic face, the hero's eyes went wide. He wanted to scream every curse. What is this nutjob doing? Luvic's face turned lethal. Right here, right now, the ritual begins. The rite of life's end. Luvic whipped out his book, chanting dark words. As a servant of finality, I command the disease to die. Be healed. Suddenly, the air turned frigid, making Li Hoon shiver. That sinister smirk was terrifying. Li Hoon was drenched in cold sweat. Damn it, he hissed as Luvic pointed. With murderous eyes, he declared, Manifesto of the End. Instantly, the sky turned pitch black with thunder. Li Hoon refused to die like this. He threw his hands up and squeezed his eyes shut tight. He expected to see the afterlife, but things got weird. Absolutely nothing happened to him. Li Hoon and Lena stared at Luvic in awkward silence. He checked his hands. He was still alive. I am still alive? Nothing happened. Co exploded in fury. You priest bastard. What was that spell? Luvic stood there with a blank face. Suddenly, he spotted something and pointed urgently toward the window. The three of them rushed to the window, curious. They gasped at the sight in the street. A random man was sprawled on the ground, smoke rising from his body. The lightning hit him. Onlookers panicked. Talk about bad luck. The trio finally realized the terrifying scale of his power. They stared at the priest in disbelief. Li Hoon could not believe his eyes. Was he that strong? Pointing at the body, he tried to confirm the chaos. Luvic just clutched his book and staggered. Enveloped in a mysterious black mist, Luvic barked, Move! And dived straight through the glass window. He shattered the glass and landed like Iron Man. He approached the victim to check his pulse. He is dead, Luvic announced. Li Hoon watched from above, his face turning pale from the brutality. Why is he so casual? Suddenly, Co stepped forward. Master, please step back for a moment. With one leap, Co confronted the priest. You have a big mouth and talent, but you're not done. The treatment is not over yet. Luvic turned to find a massive, terrifying blade at his face. Co glared with pure menace. What was that ritual? Luvic replied with a twisted, demonic grin. It saps one's life force until the disease dies first. Co felt this method was too reckless. This madman had put the master in danger. Even if it worked, the risks were far too high. Li Hoon was speechless. Forget the disease, I would be the one dying first, you lunatic. Facing the sharp blade, Luvic did not flinch. Are you really threatening the church with that sword? SEO lost his temper. Threatening? No, I am going to take your head off, you damn bastard. Li Hoon saw things spiraling out of control. Why were they suddenly trying to kill each other? Luvic added fuel to the fire. Oh, stopping a priest on a divine mission? How blasphemous. Tired of talking, Co swung his sword, but Luvic dodged with godlike speed as the clash began. Sparks flew as Caesar lunged for a finishing blow, but his opponent was surprisingly resilient. A divine barrier erupted, absorbing all damage to punish the attacker while the onlookers watched in terror. Everyone gasped as the priest actually blocked Caesar's blade, though Lena just casually enjoyed her popcorn. Amidst the snack munching, a system alert flashed. Caesar was now locked in combat with a doomsday priest. The battle intensified as Luvic dodged every strike, until Caesar finally unleashed his full, crushing strength. A massive explosion rocked the area, blanketing the battlefield in thick dust and debris for several moments. Caesar realized his strike missed, shattering only the ground, just as a surge of strange energy approached. Reacting instantly, Caesar dodged the priest's hidden spell cast from a sinister, glowing ancient tome. It was the eternal holy power, but Caesar effortlessly cut through the magic like it was nothing. The crowd stared in awe as Caesar neutralized the high-level skill, using only his cloak's wind pressure. Lena even brought out theater glasses to watch the chaos while munching away at her snacks. The two combatants clashed again, trading heavy blows that shook the very foundations of the building. Caesar smirked, striking the barrier, but the main character noticed the priest's mana was fading suspiciously fast. It was a trap. The priest was feigning weakness to launch a final, desperate suicide spear attack. He aimed for Caesar's vitals, hoping to take the S-rank summon down with him into the abyss. Could Caesar survive this onslaught? Lena suddenly teased that Caesar was actually about to lose the fight. If he failed here, the main character's legendary gaming career would reach a pathetic, early end. Luvic grinned like a demon, sensing victory, while our hero realized he had to act immediately. As Caesar rushed in, the priest unleashed a binding spell, laughing at the hero's perceived arrogance. The main character cursed his mistake. He hadn't upgraded Caesar's magic resistance stats for this specific boss. Terror set in as he realized the early game difficulty of facing a corrupt, high-ranking dark priest. The stalemate continued, leaving the hero desperate for a way to break the priest's overwhelming holy defense. Sending Lena in was useless against that barrier, and their allotted quest time was rapidly running out. Every phantom spear was aimed at a lethal point, leaving no room for a direct counteroffensive. Cursing under his breath, our hero realized he had only one dirty trick left in his arsenal. "The guards are here!" he screamed. The priest instinctively flinched, glancing away for a heartbeat. That moment was enough. Caesar's blade pierced through the priest's chest, ending his wicked, smug grin. Caesar didn't stop there, slamming the villain into the ground with bone-shattering, earth-cracking force. The stone floor crumbled as the priest coughed blood, his eyes rolling back in total defeat. Caesar laughed triumphantly, declaring he had finally dealt with the trash that dared threaten his master. The main character looked down at the street, seeing a massive, panicked crowd gathering below them. A sudden siren made him jump. The real city guards had arrived to investigate the massive explosion. The citizens pointed upwards, identifying the hero and Lena as the masterminds behind the violent chaos. Caesar was quickly surrounded and restrained, while our hero realized he was officially the prime suspect. With no escape route left, Lena panicked, unable to carry the heavy hero away from the scene. Before they could blink, they were hauled to the police station for a high-stakes criminal interrogation. The officer noted the hero's clean record, but suspected him of being the hidden boss behind Caesar. Despite his clean history, the detective remained suspicious of the hero's connection to illegal underground activities. He knew the group they fought belonged to the notorious Doomsday Priests Guild, raising even more questions. The presence of a charred corpse was enough evidence to formally charge the hero with murder. The hero sighed, explaining he was just sick and Caesar had mistakenly summoned a dark priest. He claimed they tried to kick the priest out, but the man stayed and died accidentally. The detective remained silent before revealing a witness claim that the hero ordered the execution personally. They suspected he was recruiting dark priests, and the deal went south, leading to the bloody brawl. Trapped by their logic, the hero realized he was now framed as a dangerous criminal mastermind. Tension reached a boiling point as Lena trembled, fearing their demon army's total annihilation. Without a witness, our hero's legendary speedrun through this tutorial world would end abruptly. As despair loomed, the corrupt priest laughed, certain he had cornered our main character. The villainous priest summoned a final witness to seal Lee's fate with manufactured lies. Enter Iroh, a mysterious girl who greeted the main character with a strangely familiar smile. Lee stood frozen in confusion as she treated him like an old friend named Win. The room gasped at their connection, though Iroh quickly feigned a mistake in her greeting. The captain panicked, realizing his star witness was suddenly deviating from the priest's script. Iroh playfully corrected him, declaring Lee a hero of justice rather than a lowly criminal. She praised him for slaying dungeon murderers, claiming she filed a formal guild report. Why would such a champion conspire with cultists? The logic left the guards completely speechless. Erie's gaze turned cold, questioning if framing a hero was worth the captain's entire career. The investigators watched in awe as this young girl completely dismantled their entire case. Luck favored Lee as all charges vanished, replaced by a formal apology from the city. To settle the debt, the guild even covered the massive damages from the previous battle. Basking in the glory of system rewards, Lee realized how rewarding this game truly was. Erie teased him, reminding our hero that his freedom was a gift from her hand. Her smile shifted into something sinister, revealing she had successfully trapped him in her guild. She waved goodbye, leaving a lingering chill that even the demon army could feel. Lena sensed the danger, but Lee was simply too exhausted to process the hidden threat. 𝑺𝒐𝒏𝒌, the overprotective SSS summon, misinterpreted Lee's fatigue as a life-threatening spiritual wound. The legendary servant demanded immediate treatment, ignoring Lee's protests of being just fine. They arrived at the healing cathedral, where Lee was forced onto a ritual bed. The priest's spells flickered and failed, unable to penetrate the main character's unique aura. The healers were baffled. Their divine arts couldn't even locate the source of the issue. Lee remained silent as the terrified priests theorized about his incomprehensible power level. They feared a curse so high tier that mortal eyes couldn't even perceive its existence. Lee sighed under his blindfold, remembering the absurdity of how he ended up here. Minutes earlier, 𝑺𝒐𝒏𝒌 had sprinted like a hurricane, carrying Lee across the entire city. The summon's obsession with his master's safety had turned a nap into a medical crisis. Lee had only faked illness to stop 𝑺𝒐𝒏𝒌 from destroying the entire cathedral. When the priest declared failure, 𝑺𝒐𝒏𝒌's killing intent began to suffocate the entire room. The SSS servant loomed behind the priest, mocking their supposed mastery of divine healing. If you can't save him, then your entire religion has no reason to exist. 𝑺𝒐𝒏𝒌 grabbed the priest's collar, accusing them of stalling while his master suffered. He demanded a high-ranking bishop immediately, refusing to accept any more pathetic excuses. The threat was clear: heal the hero or face the total annihilation of their order. Lee watched in horror, realizing his overzealous summon was making a terrible situation worse. A new presence appeared, a mid-level deacon named Ian, drawn by the chaotic aura. Ian approached calmly, unfazed by the SSS servant's overwhelming pressure and murderous gaze. He mistook Lee's pale face for a curse, unaware it was pure, unadulterated annoyance. The handsome deacon placed a hand on Lee, beginning a deep spiritual resonance check. Suddenly, Ian's eyes widened in sheer terror, his hands trembling with visible shock. The deacon stammered, his professional composure shattering as he sensed Lee's hidden status. Lee panicked, wondering if he had accidentally gained a real curse during his speedrun. The priest's face turned pale. If even he couldn't sense it, this was a high-tier, lethal curse. His teammates trembled in terror. Meanwhile, the main character sobbed as the other priests watched in shock. How did he escape such a dark hex? To them, he was now a legendary research specimen. The cult grew obsessed with him. But our hero knew the truth: these people were absolutely delusional. There was no curse at all. As they summoned the archbishop, he demanded a private audience instead. His cold authority silenced the room. Soon, they moved to the secret study of the healing sect. Inside the private chambers, the priest leaned in. He desperately wanted the truth behind this affliction. The main character was blunt, no archbishops. Yet the priest hungered for this rare, prestigious experience. They would pay any price to study him. To the sect, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. His gaze sharpened with a threat. What happens if your pathetic healing fails to save me? He reminded them of his monstrous subordinates. Without his command, they were walking disasters waiting to explode. If he died, they would level this city first. The priest's blood ran cold at the thought. Panic seized the priest's heart. He looked at the frail hero, imagining the heavy burden he carried. A man suppressing demons while his own soul withered a tragic hero beyond any commoner's reach. The priest slammed the desk in realization. Do you even know the magnitude of your own curse? Tears began to flow down his face. He mourned the hero's silent suffering with pure religious fervor. A curse no high rank could touch. Yet he endured it alone just to keep the world safe. Oh, God of healing, is this the ultimate trial of sacrifice you have bestowed upon us? The priest became a total fanatic. Exhausted by the drama, the main character prepared to walk out. Suddenly, a voice called him back. The priest vowed to use his own life force for him. In the name of light, he channeled power. He sought to stall the imaginary curse's spread. A warm glow erupted everywhere. The system confirmed it. This was legendary. High-tier healing energy. He stood stunned as the priest turned. Then, the man made a shocking declaration to the room. I shall join your party immediately. Let me be the shield that guards your noble soul. No fame or gold was required. He looked at our hero with the eyes of a disciple. A mid-level healer was a dream asset. Usually, hiring one cost a mountain of pure gold. But here stood the priest, offering everything for free. The protagonist could barely believe his luck. The priest's eyes sparkled like a fan's. To him, worldly rewards were now completely beneath his mission. Something felt strange to the hero. There were no hiring stats, yet a system prompt appeared. Alert: a mid-level priest has joined your party. 0 fees, absolute loyalty, Unlimited divine support. He stared at the screen in disbelief. This was insane, pure, unadulterated madness falling into his lap. Is this even possible? My luck is reaching levels that shouldn't exist in this world today. Perhaps my good karma points are broken. This level of compensation is beyond any normal logic. Usually, the sect only lends out trainees. Getting a pro was a 1 in a million chance, but this man was a powerhouse. A mid-level master joining a newbie was an unheard-of event. He was 2 tiers above the standard. A literal cheat code for any upcoming dungeon speedrun. The priest flashed a saintly, devoted smile. To him, our hero was the ultimate divine idol. Are you unsatisfied with me? The priest trembled, fearing he wasn't worthy of the hero's side. He pondered the situation deeply. Was this a hidden perk for a former high-rank explorer? The priest raised his hands to prove his skill. Please, do not doubt my divine capabilities. He wanted to accept immediately. But those greedy, scheming directors would surely try to interfere. Becoming a pro meant bloodsuckers would follow. He had to play this very, very carefully. Listen, in my squad, death is everywhere. One mistake and your life hangs by a thread. He wore a terrifying expression to test him. Do you truly have the resolve to survive? He expected a rejection. But as the sun set, the priest's holy resolve only burned brighter. The priest trembles in utter agony as Hoyon leaves the scene behind. Lena chirps, "Master, you look refreshed. What did you say to that poor man?" Inside, the broken priest wails in despair. A truly pathetic sight for his peers. "Pray for him," they whisper. 1 hour later, darkness swallows the city of Bram. At a back-alley diner, Hoyon sits exhausted while Lena devours her meal. "Master, your face is glowing, but your aura is pitch black." Lena teases. Caesar agrees through a mouthful of meat. "She's right." "Who upset you, Master?" Hoy, on size. "Honestly, I can't blame anyone. Our team just attracts absolute chaos." Instantly, the 2 subordinates clash. "Was it you again, you damn thief?" Caesar roars. "So what?" Lena snaps back. Hoyon intervenes before blood paints the floor. "Enough. Blame is useless. We need a better way. The negotiation skill." Negotiation. A legendary technique that creates something out of absolutely nothing. It is the ultimate non-combat tool, essential for any true master of the game. Your rank climbs from basic to divine based on the legendary deals you strike. "How boring," Lena scoffs. Hoyon's temper flares at her blatant ignorance. "Watch closely, you amateur. This is how a professional handles a black market deal." He summons the owner, a mountain of a man with a face built for murder. "How can I help you, guests?" The giant growls. Hoy. On points at the table. "You ordered quite a lot," the owner notes. Hoyon smirks, activating his skill. "Great service. Since we're big spenders, how about a nice friendly discount?" Lena and Caesar freeze. To their shock, the terrifying giant actually nods. "Fine. Free drinks for table 4. Hoyon beams with pride at his success. "See? Negotiation is the easiest way to get everything without using any violence." Suddenly, Caesar slams the table and stands up. "I finally understand your wisdom, Master." He beckons the owner over. That wicked glint in his eye spells pure disaster. "You're confused, aren't you? Let me tell you what my master truly wants." Hoy, on panics. "Caesar, sit down." But the madman is already spinning a lie. He just leveled an entire city and walked away with a massive compensation fee. Hoyon's soul leaves his body. "Caesar, you idiot. That's not how it happened." The owner's smile turns sinister. "So, you're high-level criminals I haven't heard of yet?" Hoyon turns pale. The owner laughs. "Then you know how criminal organizations work. Hidden thugs descend from the rafters with blades drawn. Time for a test. We're going to give you a welcome you'll never forget." The boss challenges. Lena and Caesar grin, drawing their weapons. They've been itching for a massacre. Only Hoyon looks lost. Caesar raises his sword. "Let's negotiate for this building. I'm taking the whole shop," Caesar roars. Lena follows. Me too. Hoy waves his hands in vain. "That's not what I meant, you lunatics. System alert. Sudden event. Teach these local thugs the meaning of true power." With one horizontal sweep, Caesar obliterates half the gang. The leader's jaw drops. "Damn it! He took out half my men in a single strike," the boss screams. "Scatter!" "Don't let his blade catch you all at once," he orders in panic. He doesn't realize Lena is already behind him. "Don't forget to look at me." As her blade grazes his neck, he shrieks, "Wait! Stop! I know that face! Who are you?" He stammers. Then his eyes widen in horror. "It can't be. You're a member of..." His scream is cut short as the gang collapses in agony. Chaos erupts in the restaurant. The system offers a massive reward. Win this brawl and seize the building. At the back door, the gang boss lies bound and defeated, ready for a cold interrogation. As the leader begs for mercy, Lena watches with a cold gaze, sensing her master's growing intensity. She sees his terrifyingly serious expression. "Calm down, master," she whispers, feeling his dark aura. He wonders if his face looks scary. Regardless, he tells the boss regrets come too late. "How do you know my subordinate?" he demands. The man looks up, shaking with pure terror. "She was a top-tier executioner in our syndicate. One day, she slaughtered a whole squad. She vanished without a trace, becoming the most wanted fugitive in the underworld," he explains. Lena's eyes glow with pride, but the main character's face darkens. This is getting complicated. A wanted criminal? That means we are targets for an entire criminal empire. This is bad. If we are being hunted, the world sees us as villains. There is no turning back now. We have already crossed the line of no return. Fine, let us play this game. He stands up, looming over the boss like a reaper. His eyes burn with lethal light. "So my subordinate is a fugitive? And your organization has been hunting us this whole time? If you are a witness and a member, keeping you alive is just a waste of time." He embraces the role of a true demon. The boss turns pale, sensing impending doom. He prepares to leave, ordering Lena to clean the mess properly. No evidence left behind. "Wait," the boss screams. "Everyone in this restaurant will lose everything if I die today." He glares back coldly. "A pathetic trick to buy time? Do not test my patience. I am serious. Our organization is falling apart," the boss pleads, his voice trembling. Lena leans in, curious. "What happened to that powerful syndicate while I was gone? A new recruit ruined everything. A young kid with a snake's tongue and twisted mind. He manipulated the core members and proposed a business that drained our soul and power. Members left as money dried up. Our proud sanctuary became a den for weak bottom feeders. We are ruined because of poor security." The boss weeps, looking truly pathetic and broken. "That kid was just a thief. But I see infinite potential in your overwhelming strength. With your terrifying aura, you could restore our former glory as the ultimate master. If you take over, we can rule again." Lena barks at him to shut up instantly. "Master hates sycophants," she yells, but he raises a hand, signaling her to be quiet. "I have heard enough. I accept your offer for this shop." Lena stares in disbelief. "Master, what are you doing? They are criminals. They will surely stab us in the back." She forgets she was one of them. He scoffs, noting they have no other choice. "If they were normal thugs, they would be dead to keep our secrets safe forever. You have no right to choose. If you want to live, swear your loyalty now. Swear your soul to win a mayor and be reborn." The boss bows in total submission. System: Master's charisma activated. Event: Bah Ali, the founder, has sworn his eternal loyalty. The restaurant is now your territory. You can now collect taxes and protection fees. You have pawns, subordinates, and land. Please name your organization to solidify your reign. From now on, the Wynnum Mayor family shall be known as the Black Mountain Association. System: The Black Mountain Association is founded. Lena pouts, thinking the name is quite boring. System: Massive bonus experience and skills granted. You have taken the step toward domination. Rise from the bottom of society and build your empire. He smirks, issuing final orders. System: New skills unlocked. The path to becoming the ultimate Shadow Monarch begins now. Lead your organization to the top of the food chain. No one can stop you. Remember this name, or be crushed under my heel. The era of Black Mountain begins. With a hushed voice, Sizer asked, "Master, what are your plans for the future?" Hoon smirked. "Our objective? Conquer the Lena labyrinth." Lena gasped. "A criminal guild conquering a dungeon? Isn't that too simple for us?" Hoon laughed. "Money and power are vital, but fleeting. The real prize is the monsters within. Their strength exists on a completely different plane. Why settle for gold when we can tame legends? Riches are just a small part. Let the conquest begin." They vanished like shadows, leaving the stunned crowd behind them. In the slums, a young boy gripped a newspaper. A legendary heist in half a day? The 𝒂𝒏 restaurant was picked clean. A new power has finally stepped onto the stage. It's time they made their move. Thomas stood before the labyrinth city, eyes filled with fire. "The king? I don't need his scraps. I will conquer this labyrinth with my own hands." Hoon declared his ambition. System: The Black Mountain Guild has set its eyes on absolute domination. Lena watched Hoon's wicked expression. You truly are a villain, she whispered with a smile. Back at the hideout, the system flashed again. Hoon had absorbed the remnants of a notorious group. Their dark history was added to Hoon's record. His infamy reached a terrifying new level. The old boss sighed in total despair. He had lost everything to this new monster. His subordinate trembled. We survived the crisis, but it's far from over. What now, boss? The boss's gaze grew sharp. The news has surely reached that little brat by now. I heard that kid has a monstrous guardian protecting him. A bloody storm is approaching. Cut to the rival kid and his guard. They storm the restaurant, seeking immediate revenge. The police block their path. Carrying massive weapons in the square is a serious crime, kid, the officer explained the situation. A notorious criminal with a giant sword is on the loose. Reports say his master was released recently despite his crimes. He is extremely dangerous. He claims to be a clean adventurer. It must be a mistake, but we can't take risks. The police were on high alert. The rival kid could only huff in silent frustration. They were forced to keep their guard on a short leash. Precaution was their only weapon. The guard, Thomas, growled in rage. He was ready to strike the officers down instantly. Stop, the kid hissed. Not here. Meanwhile, Hoon's team was basking in their new fame. System. Infamy has exceeded 1,000. The legend of the Black Mountain Guild has begun. Their name was now feared across the land. This level of notoriety was truly something else. People watched them with terrified eyes. Hoon had never felt this much attention before. He imagined himself sitting on a mountain of gold. This was the life of a king. Hoon tried to act like a cold overlord, but his teammates weren't impressed at all. Lena sighed. You look more like a common thug than a boss. You're getting carried away. Sizer agreed. The game has just started, boss. Don't get cocky and end it too early. Hoon scratched his head, feeling awkward. Fine. Let's just go buy a map for now. Suddenly, a red warning flashed. Emergency. The Black Mountain Guild's base is under attack. That was fast, Hoon cursed. They raced back, ready to annihilate the bold intruders. The rival kid was already terrorizing the manager. Sizer arrived just in time to stop him. Sizer's strikes were a blur of violence. The attackers could only watch in absolute horror. Who are you? The boy stammered, shaking. Sizer stared him down with cold, murderous eyes. You're just disgusting thugs, the boy cried. You stole all my precious gold. Caesar tilted his head in confusion. He had no memory of this crying little brat. The boy's tears fell. He would never forget the humiliation of that fateful encounter. The day Hoon treated him like trash, Sizer's eyes widened. Wait. I remember you now. You're that pathetic little pickpocket. Sizer laughed. The boy's face turned pale with fear. As the Lai family rushed in, a sudden strike caught them off guard. The enemy lunged. Seer took a devastating blow, crashing through the wall in a cloud of thick debris. That brat laughed, mocking our hero. But the main character's expression turned chillingly dark. Fear gripped the boy as he realized the shop was now a pile of smoking rubble. Rage boiled over. Just as he prepared to finish it, Lena stopped his blade. Li Hoon stood firm, certain his SSS-Rank summon wouldn't fall to a mere weakling. The boy sneered. Did he not know the legend of Toma, the Gale adventurer? Toma had reached the abyss, but lost everything. He was the sole, broken survivor. Gasping for air, Toma looked up. The trauma of the maze had shattered his mind. Escaping the labyrinth only brought madness. The survivor's guilt was a heavy, suffocating curse. With tears streaming, Toma demanded Seer stand. The brat cackled at the pathetic sight. He truly believed he'd become a legendary thief by defeating this so-called madman. The kid wouldn't stop bragging. To our hero, his words were nothing but static. Claiming Seer was finished, the brat kept barking. The main character's patience finally snapped. Haven't you heard? He growled. Not even the high priest of the end can stop him. Lena stepped forward with a terrifying aura. Are you confused, little boy? She whispered. Her presence was suffocating. Who cares about a bottom feeder like you standing all alone? She readied her massive scissors. My master absolutely loathes people who talk too much. The boy froze in terror. Suddenly, a dark blur intercepted Lena's lethal execution attempt. Toma lunged, grabbing Lena's face. The boy cheered. Toma never abandons his own kind. But wait! Seer's hand clamped onto Toma's leg. Never drop your guard, he growled. Seer slammed the warrior into the masonry, uncaring about his tragic, tearful backstory. Spitting blood, Seer stood tall. Pick up your steel. This battle belongs to me. Lee watched in awe as his summon roared with an unshakable warrior's pride. System alert. Seer has declared a duel of honor against the Gale warrior. Toma rose. Unexpected event. The fleeing warrior's trauma has been fully triggered. To Toma, defeating Seer was the only way to silence the ghosts of his past. Desperation fueled him. He pushed his physical limits beyond what any human should endure. A whirlwind of strikes erupted. He was pouring his entire life force into every swing. Li Hun felt a chill. The air crackled with a terrifying, bloodthirsty killing intent. Seer grinned as they clashed. The sheer shockwaves forced the onlookers to stagger back. Incredible, Li gasped. The sheer wind pressure from their blades is slicing the air. Lena watched, mesmerized. The main character asked if she should jump in to assist. Look at them, Lena replied. A messy brawl like this isn't for an assassin. Besides, I'd rather not lose my head. You should worry about your remaining servant. You talk too much, coward. Li snapped back. The exchange of blows grew even fiercer. The momentum shifted. Unbelievably, the massive seer was being pressured back into the air. A blinding light erupted. Warning. Toma is preparing his ultimate SSS-Rank execution art. Toma swung his spear whip with divine fury. The gale slash tore through the very atmosphere. Storm Eagle Strike. Seer was blasted back. Li Hun's desperate cry echoed through the ruins. The brat poked his head out, laughing. See that? Serves you right, you arrogant trash. He mocked the idea of Seer's immortality while pointing at the shattered, crumbling walls. He ordered Toma to finish them, wanting the main character to taste true, absolute despair. You're all cowards, the boy screamed. You let your friends die while you hide. Toma's tears fell like rain. To him, these people were nothing more than pathetic filth. Lai and Lena stood paralyzed as a hidden tutorial event triggered a deadly butterfly effect. What the master dismissed as a minor opening detail had returned to haunt them both. Pushed to the brink, Lena finally joined the fray. Her eyes ablaze with battle spirit. She unleashed her illusion skill, a move the master felt she should have used much sooner. Toma was instantly overwhelmed as countless phantoms of Lena surrounded him, laughing in mockery. She taunted his sluggish reactions, claiming he never stood a chance against her spectral speed. But as she aimed for his vitals, Toma countered with a devastating blow, disarming her instantly. Her blade was sent flying as she retreated, barely bracing herself against his crushing power. Suddenly, crimson eyes gleamed from the shadows. Kaiser had returned to claim his prey. Step aside, woman, Kaiser growled, launching himself at Toma like a lethal, homing arrow. Their weapons collided, warping the air with the sheer weight of their monstrous spiritual pressure. Kaiser mocked Toma's obsession with his comrades, asking if he had been betrayed before. Toma froze as Kaiser sneered, calling the very concept of friendship a pathetic delusion. Why cling to worthless tools? Kaiser spat, dismissing allies as mere equipment for the strong. He claimed Toma was too weak to even be considered useful by those around him. Even after clearing the labyrinth, Toma failed to realize the world has no place for weakness. Lai felt those cold words strike deep, realizing the harsh truth behind Kaiser's dark philosophy. Lena joked that Kaiser was describing his own master, adding fuel to the chaotic fire. Tears of blood streamed down Toma's face as Kaiser declared his inevitable, crushing defeat. You were a failure from the start, Kaiser whispered, watching Toma's spirit finally break. Remembering a girl's plea to survive, Toma's veins bulged as he entered a berserk state. An explosion of raw energy erupted from Toma, forcing everyone nearby to shield their eyes. The young boy cried out in despair for his fallen hero as the battle peaked. But even in his madness, Toma was ruthlessly brought down by Kaiser's superior combat prowess. The system confirmed the victory. Yet Lai felt uneasy about the monster he had raised. Facing a berserk legendary tier opponent was supposed to be the tutorial's final, impossible trial. Lai expected a desperate struggle, but Kaiser had evolved far beyond any standard power scale. Kaiser stood over the fallen, wearing his signature chilling smile as he mocked his opponent. You are beyond mediocre, he sneered, finally explaining why Toma was destined to fail. The battlefield fell into a heavy silence as Kaiser prepared to deliver his final lecture. You failed because you lacked a true master to command your path, Kaiser declared coldly. To him, the bond between mere teammates was too fragile to survive a real crisis. Only the absolute authority of a master can force a subordinate to transcend their limits. Only under a ruler can you truly sacrifice your life for a greater purpose. Lai watched from the sidelines, clutching his head at Kaiser's twisted, fanatical logic. With one last desperate roar, Toma's power flared briefly before he collapsed into the dirt. System, duel complete. Kaiser emerges victorious, proving his dominance over the maddened warrior. Kaiser's stats surged, his power reaching new, terrifying heights after this legendary conquest. Lena cheered at their effortless victory, but Lai remained deep in thought about the future. Was the reward truly worth the chaos caused by such a dangerously insane subordinate? Despite the victory over the madman, Lai realized his own summons were becoming uncontrollable. Lena interrupted his thoughts, pointing toward Kaiser, who finally began to falter after combat. A special hidden event triggered Kaiser's nightmare. The SSS-Rank servant was reaching his limit. "I'll carve them all to pieces," Kaiser muttered, his gaze turning cold and murderous. Lai stepped forward, asking with chilling calm if Kaiser was truly ready for slaughter. Lai Hun cut him off mid-sentence. "How can you stand such a chaotic clash? A true victory demands absolute perfection and total dominance. Your crude display of power lacks the finesse our guild requires. Such a vulgar triumph has no place here." Seer froze, his face turning pale with pure disbelief. "Master, what are you saying?" Lai Hun's cold gaze pierced through him. "Exactly that, Seer. You are expelled." Rage ignited within Seer. "This must be a nightmare. My lord would never question my absolute loyalty like this." He lunged forward in a desperate frenzy, but Lai Hun's suffocating killing intent instantly paralyzed his very soul. Seer let out a blood-curdling scream. Gasping for air, he suddenly jolted awake, realizing it was all a dream. Scanning the room, his eyes landed on a note left by Lai Hun. "Meet me at City Hall once recovered." A dark smirk played on Seer's lips as he crushed the paper. Meanwhile, at the East City Hall, Lai Hun's eyes widened in shock. "What? That maniac Toma we crushed was actually a major slumlord?" The official, Gale, nodded calmly. "Correct. His vast holdings are now under your guild's control, according to the system. Your association has officially inherited his massive estate. However, Toma's dark legacy brings a heavy price with it. Rumors are spreading that your group is in league with criminal syndicates. The public backlash is only worsening." Lai Hun's temper flared. He couldn't believe they were being painted as villains after cleaning up the trash. "You brat," he snarled at the young boy nearby. "You claim to be an ally, yet you only covet wealth?" Lena scoffed, calling the situation absolute garbage. Lai Hun frowned, checking his system interface with growing suspicion. "The system promised me everything. So why am I only seeing a small fraction of the total assets?" Gale offered a mysterious smile. "The answer is simple. Half of Toma's vast fortune now belongs to this child." Lai Hun's aura exploded with fury. "Is that so? Then I'll deal with this little thief right now." "Master, stop, he's just a kid," Lena pleaded, while the boy trembled, tears streaming down his terrified face. "Please, have mercy. If you spare me, I will become your loyal slave forever." Lai Hun froze. "A slave? The plot thickens." Don't forget to like and share for more epic chapters of this legendary journey.